Welcome back to the OMB Law Board. I'm Simon Bennett. Today I have Bailey Bennett, one of our solicitors in our property law team, and I'm very proud to say my son, as part of our look and deep dive now into the seller disclosure regime and the biggest change in property law in probably 20 years in Queensland. We spoke to Georgia from our property law team earlier about it, but Bailey's going to help me conduct a deep dive into that. So Bailey, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Simon. Lovely to see you again.
Well, this is a big change. In an earlier episode, Georgia outlined for our listeners, the new legislation and the change in the obligations on a seller in Queensland, moving much closer to the New South Wales system. And I thought we could do a bit of a deep dive into the seller disclosure and what's involved with you today. So could you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, essentially, I'm sure you would have heard from Georgia as well, but there's a new introduction that's coming in to the Property Law Act from August 1st of this year. Essentially what that is it's moving more towards a seller-based disclosure system in comparison to a buyer beware system that we're currently seeing. Moving towards that Victorian state as well as the New South Wales area. There's going to be a new Form 2 that's going to be introduced. Essentially what that Form 2 is the disclosure document provided with all contracts, related to house and land in a CTS body corporate as well.
So as a seller, I now need to provide this disclosure upfront before the contract's signed.
Correct.
And what happens if I don't do that, or I do it incorrectly, or I have the wrong information?
Well, if you do it incorrectly, you have the wrong information, or you warrant something that isn't true, there is a termination right for any buyer who does discover that either now or later on down the line.
So it's essential when you're selling residential or commercial property in Queensland that you have a correct, up-to-date and accurate seller disclosure, failing which there's termination rights for the buyer.
Yeah, of course. And then some of that stuff that's involved in that Form 2 is your usual searches that buyers would conduct on the other end of things. So for example, previously a buyer would do a title search, do a plan search. That's some of the main things as well that's required.
So as part of this seller disclosure, the seller is going to have to conduct some of these searches.
Correct.
And attach them to the disclosure?
That is correct. It's going to have that Form 2 filled out and attached to every single contract. What that kind of looks like in respect of house and land and non-body corporate areas is just going to be a plan, title, main roads. There's going to be rate searches as well. So your rates. You're also going to have some other things with respect to some of the other searches that you'd usually conduct when you're looking at as a buyer.
And in addition to those searches, Bailey, there's a requirement for the seller to answer some specific questions about other things like contaminated land, heritage land.
Correct.
Not necessarily needing searches if a seller knows, but if the seller doesn't know the answer, they're going to have to search it.
That is correct. So essentially one of the ways that you as a seller would be able to warrant to your buyers is through things you definitely know of, whether that being contaminated land. If you know that you're on a potential contaminated land waste area, you may warrant that you're unsure that it is free from any of those incursions. However, with some of the other ones that you might not be sure about, it's best to get in contact with your solicitor, whoever's preparing that disclosure document, and letting them know upfront.
I think that's a good point you make there, because we've got so used to, in Queensland, the contract preparation being done by real estate agents, whereas in New South Wales, for example, that's all being done by lawyers. This seller disclosure, it appears, is so important, and there's so much risk involved that obviously our recommendation is that you go to your lawyer.
That's correct. OMB, we've already prepared some documentation and getting ready to implement those changes on August 1st and up to. One of the things you can do as a seller is get in contact with your solicitors early on in that process to understand what you may be involved with if you're looking to sell past that August 1st point. Getting those disclosure documents in line, making sure you've got your rates and water notices ready, In addition to that, maybe just coming and having a general chat so we can discuss how best to go along that process as a seller.
Yeah, so with the new legislation, it may be appropriate that if you're thinking about selling, that you get in and we get the seller disclosure and the contract prepared early so that when you engage with your agent to market and sell your property, you're good to go, your pack is ready, and you know that the information in there is accurate and a contract is not going to be terminated on you.
That's correct. Yes. And well, with OMB, we've got a few different packages where we've already outlined to some of our clients and some of the agencies that we deal with. One of those being contract and disclosure preparation. With this respect of that, going towards more of a New South Wales area, we've decided that we'll also potentially prepare some contracts for some of our clients, should they elect it, or alternatively, we'll go towards more of a disclosure package as well, which offers just that disclosure to the buyers.
So with two options, either a contract and disclosure or just a disclosure only, but taking the risk away from the seller with a good expert knowledge and understanding of the process and the procedures and taking away the risk. Now, if there's a body corporate involved,
yes,
if there's a body corporate, there's something else.
There's other things, other searches that you'll need to do. As per usual within body corporates, you're going to have to provide that body corporate certificate outlining the levies, entitlements, etc. But one of the other things as well that we weren't seeing previously is providing the CMS. That's another search that's going to have to be conducted for those sellers in that body corporate space.
So under the new legislation, there's a separate body corporate disclosure, which has got other requirements, as you said, CMS, which is unusual, and some other things. So that, a part of that process is getting that one right as well. And the tables are turning. The tables are turning on the seller.
Tables are turning on the seller. It's becoming more focused on that. So as a seller, our advice to you would be aware, get in early, figure it out, get in contact with your agents and get in contact with us as soon as possible in that process.
And for those in the real estate industry that are listening or tuning in today, obviously we offer the service direct to the real estate agents as well, that they can engage with us and on behalf of their clients. And we're happy to get involved either preparing the seller disclosure or the contract and disclosure as well, Bailey.
That is correct, yes. So we do offer that for our real estate agents as well to make the process as streamlined as possible. Having the expert knowledge in the field, we'd recommend us doing it to provide you guys that kind of barrier as well with respect to the liability of preparing those documents to make sure that they are correct and accurate.
Well, fantastic. That's really informative. I'm glad we're able to drill down on some of the detail involved in this new system, and it appears that times are changing in Queensland property law. You can rely on OMB Property Law Team to be at the forefront of that for you, and we're here to help you along the way, Bailey.
That's right.
Thanks for coming along today.
No worries. Thank you for having me again.
And appreciate you staying with us and listening right through to the end. And if we can be of assistance with you in respect of your property matter, seller disclosure, contract, or otherwise, please feel free to drop us a line or contact the property law team, and Bailey will be more than happy to help you with any of those issues you've got. And we'll see you next time on the OMB Law Board.